Excited, Jim. I had to do a quick ad hoc and move this to you. Wins of the week. Win number one is you're back with us 2 weeks in a row. Anything you'd like to kick us off with here, Jim?
Um, let's see. It's a lot of planning right now for 2026. So we're in budget mode for 26, planning mode. So I'm kind of heads down on stuff.
Hmm.
So I don't have a lot to report in terms of overall wins of the week. Um,
Can we have input on budget?
you can, yeah, I'll listen.
So when's our sassy call party?
Yeah, let's start with that budget line item, right, Gare?
Okay, well, virtual, so that's zero, but that's easy.
Wow. I don't think that's what we were hoping for there, Jim.
Yeah. Well, what event actually is it probably it's probably right at Boom that most of these people, most of the folks on this call, right, gather
Mhm.
at that the one consistent event?
Yeah, or connect, but
Yeah.
the closest um would be right boom coming
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I've heard of that show. Is it good?
It's okay. It's
A
okay.
couple people have been to it. They told me it was decent.
Yeah.
Um, what do we got for wins here? Anything on your front, Chip, as we get folks to kind of raise hands and talk things up? Tina's like edging on the edge of her seat. I think she's got something she'd like to share. Tina? No? All right. Um, anything on your front, Chip, with all the things you've been working on in licensing and exciting stuff?
Um, well, I had an interesting win of the week this week, and I can't get into too much detail on it.
Okay.
But Adam has been doing some very, very interesting work, unbeknownst to me, on I guess kind of his own time, and showed us an implementation of something that we're really thinking about from a new approach to how we're presenting data in some of the products in the security suite. And I think we'll be looking for a few volunteers to do a very, very, very tightly limited NDA approved private preview and give us some feedback. So that's a win. I mean, I'm impressed with what he's done enough that I'd like to do that with some of the folks here on the call that have been SaaS Alerts fans from the beginning, really understand and know our product and what we do with it, and get some direct feedback before we start going full bore down that lane. So there's the win.
It
So
looks like
so line up in chat and let me know,
up for it. David's up.
like
Enrique,
half dozen
yeah,
is
half
what we're
dozen.
after.
Do it. Hey, it
I'm
looks like
in.
you're done. You got them all.
Okay.
I'm gonna get in trouble one of these days because I raised my hand before they even finished with what it is. One of these days I might commit to giving all my life away or something.
No, I don't think so, Enrique. We wouldn't do that to you.
Any
AI?
what's that? Any of you folks out there with wins? And again, it doesn't
No,
always have
this
to be.
is uh
I
this is
got a
sort of an
Rocket
echo.
Cyber.
Oh,
I got a Rocket Cyber win, two different machines this week with. They joined a session, a remote session for support, and Rocket Cyber picked up some one of those commands that does the WinR and gets this weird URL and stuff. And we isolated the machine. Both of the times Rocket Cyber isolated the machine. It was pretty nice because I like that now it was like level two. So they called me and they're like, well, we saw suspicious behavior. And while we're on the call, actually, I got two calls and we're on the call. They tell me, oh, just saw level two, I guess, SOC team isolated the machine because they determined it is bad. So that was pretty neat that I saw that. That has happened in the past where they isolate immediately, but this one I was on the call for the first call, and while we were on the call, it updated that they isolated the machine because of the suspicious behavior. So that was pretty neat. That was two different incidents this week, and I love when the customer said, we just connected to a remote support session. That was it. It's like, well, who sent you this remote support agent or what were you doing exactly? So, yeah, and they claim nothing was wrong with their computer. I'm like, I'm not asking you, we're telling you. An
Right,
isolate,
right.
the only way we're on isolating is if we do all this or simple, let's just wipe it. So yeah, they weren't too happy about it, but yeah, so those were two big wins.
That's huge.
Nice.
So
Enrique,
they're
what's the do you have any detail on like how did they how was this inbound to them that they got this support request? If not
Let
from
me
you, obviously.
so these are all again co-managed environments. Let me go to the notes to see what they told me. He just did a training through AnyDesk.
ah,
That's got
Wow.
to be secure.
It was a training to see how easily you could get hacked, I guess. I don't know.
wow.
And then, so even after we tell them like the full support of stuff, because I'll take the Rocket Cyber stuff and throw it in Copilot and try to get a little more readable context for human beings, and we give it to them and stuff, and we talk to them, and they're like, "No, but nothing happened."
Yeah.
Okay, guys, nothing
So,
happened. Your machine's still isolated. Sorry.
I've got one that's kind of comical, and a similar co-managed environment. It's actually a client who's having very, strong financial difficulties, unfortunately. So they've cut back to the bare bones. So really, it's only agents is what we're doing for them. They have somebody who manages their firewall. So at 6:30 Tuesday morning, I think it was 2 days, whatever, 2 days, yeah, 2 days ago, we got an alert. This is Huntress. And I see the alert basically that they've Huntress quarantined the environment. They took all the machines offline while they were investigating it. And by 8:30, I was on with one of their points of contact, and ultimately, uh, um, the threat actor gained access to their help desk account through their SSL VPN, which does not use MFA. Oh, but it's using LDAP to their server, so that's really secure. But he was insistent, oh, it can't be a problem because it's on a high port. It's not using the default port. So um, the ironic part about it is we're in the midst of our Huntress migration, and at 3 o'clock the prior day, we accidentally pushed Huntress out to a handful of their computers. They're not supposed to have Huntress even, but it did save their ass, even though it had been on their computers for less than 24 hours. So I sent their points of contact. I said, we're going to be mandatory at 12/31 or for 1/1. Would you like us to keep it? The cost is, $5 an endpoint. They haven't responded back. So it's on its way to coming off their computers, which is really stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, actually, that leads me to a question for the group, and I know Steven's got his hand up, so we'll get to that in a second. Just generally speaking, I don't need like details. I'm just looking for trending and overall kind of market movement. How do you guys feel about where your customers are financially, like where you guys are in terms of growth? Do you see 2025 as kind of on a relative basis? Because the MSP market and industry has been growing nicely, anywhere between, call it, 15 and 25% for the last several years. My sense is that it's slowed down significantly, but I would love to pressure test that thesis with all of you.
So our growth for next year is exponential due to a fertility clinic that took a private investment round late last year. And so they were just out of San Antonio. They opened Houston earlier this year. They're opening another one downtown San Antonio, and they're opening Austin next June, and then Dallas. So they have a pretty aggressive growth plan. So that's already putting us in a very positive 2026. Obviously, very dangerous because it's on one customer.
Yeah.
And some new Azure environments we were able to spin up for customers for 6,100 seat remote sessions to work off
Yeah.
the cloud, Azure cloud. So
But if you focus on the mean, right, like not outliers, like we'd love to get people's perspective on where you see the market.
I'm hoping that it stays consistent. We're on track for 22 to 23% growth this year, which is comfortable and not, unreasonable. It's not exponential. Uh, we're hoping and expecting that it stays consistent into next year, but obviously it's a little bit too early to tell.
Yeah. So I'm hearing from a lot of MSPs, the average growth is about 10% in 2025, which is it's quite a bit lower than it has been in the previous years. Anyone, any additional thoughts on that?
I think AI is going to play a lot into our growth in 2026. I think if we don't adopt AI as MSPs, and we're particularly focusing on Copilot.
Mhm.
So I think that is definitely going to be a growth generator for us.
How about you, Sujit? I know, again, Steven's had his hand up, which is, I think,
Yeah.
something else, but Sujit, do you have a comment on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing because, like now, especially with the kind of AI coming into the mix, I mean, we've seen a lot of smaller, kind of more middle ground MSPs start to close their doors. Even
Mhm.
some of the folks I know that work more in like a break fix type of approach, or people who last took a certification like 30 years ago. So like I feel like that's what's kind of starting to fall off the edge there because now customers want to know about this stuff. So as an MSP, if you're not involved and you're not in the know-how, they're going to just go for somebody else who can give them guidance. Because
Right.
business owners want to make a decision. They don't want to sit there and be like, all right, let me read about AI. Let me read about this and that and how this ties into my business. Like that's where our owner is a little bit different. Like he's at the forefront of this. He started doing a lot of the social media rounds. Like he's got a TV guy, he's on podcasts. He's trying to get ahead of this so that, those customers that are kind of interested in that space, like we're trying to get that customer base too. We signed up for a
Mhm.
bunch of Microsoft stuff for CCP. We're turning on all this stuff for our tenant, which I'm sure is going to blow up in our face at some point. But like we're trying to figure out how this stuff works and how it can incorporate into a business and how we can find ROI for people so that we have
Mhm.
another thing in our kind of our stack here that we can say, look, we're not just your IT company. Like we want to know your business. What do you do? Why do you do it? Like let's figure that out and then go from there. Whereas those guys who just want to deploy backups or endpoints and just make a margin, those are the guys you're going to start seeing disappear.
Fair enough. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sujit. I know. Let's get to Steven. I know he's
Yeah.
been waiting
Steven.
patiently.
Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to say real quick, I had it was a good win. We had a compromised 365 account from a phishing email it was a link that was hosted on adobe.com, and they the credentials were compromised at 11:01 a.m. SaaS Alerts created a risky risky. Anyways, we got alerted at 11:13, and I was able to go in and revoke sessions and completely remediate it in like 11 minutes. So it was great.
Sweet. That's awesome.
That's a great win.
Exactly
Yeah.
how you draw it up.
Yeah.
We did have a couple of those. I told you guys about them on Tuesday. I love this shit. I love when stuff happens. It's really boring when nothing happens because everything's too secure. But we had somebody in town, well-known guy. You guys know I live in a small town of 20,000 of my closest friends. And one guy, well-known in town, had a compromise of his account. He sent out a really obvious bid link for everybody to bid on. And I had two clients that clicked on it.
Yeah.
And I'm fast. I'm really fast. So normally I'm in there first and force sign out, revoke sessions, disable the account, whatever we have to do. And when I first came on with SaaS Alerts, I just had alerting on. I didn't have any automated respond going on, but since being on managed and SIM, those are in place now. Thank you guys for that. So I went in, revoked sessions, revoked MFA, And then I went to go force sign out on the account, and you can't do that if the account's locked. And the account was already locked. And I thought that was a beautiful thing. So I got to watch you guys in action, and you guys were faster than me. So that's a win. SaaS Alerts.
You're fast.
Two, and I'm fast.
Yeah, nice.
Small towns are the best, Ajit. You're right. Agreed.
Thanks, Tina.
Good stuff. Jim, so you're hearing, you were on boards. I don't know if you still are. Are these just interviews with different MSPs you're having that on the margin you're seeing rate of
Yeah,
change
on the
accelerate?
margin. Yeah, I'm on boards, but those are, individual cases. But obviously, yeah, I could say we've got 40,000 plus MSPs. So I have a lot of conversations with a lot of MSPs, as you might imagine. And just, I think in aggregate, as a whole, I'm seeing a lot less growth this year than I have in the past.
Interesting. Is it the same for companies that have strong sales engines that have, really well-defined outbound?
Yeah, even some of the strongest sales focused MSPs are even having, drop off in growth. And my feeling is that it has to do with lower employment counts. Like there are less users to manage within our companies, right? And I don't know if I think it's too early necessary for AI to be significantly impacting that number, but there's been a fair amount of layoffs
Sure.
in 2025. And in fact, like October was the biggest layoff month from a job perspective in 2 decades.
In the
The
MSP world, you mean?
In general.
No, in general. One theme I've heard, Jim, I don't know if this resonates with you and a lot of others, that it's not so when someone leaves a job, they're not replacing.
Right.
That is a theme.
Right.
Does that resonate with you? And if so, are you hearing that and are others hearing that?
Definitely. Definitely. Like it's not like MSPs are churning out logos as high as they are churning out seats.
Yeah. 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 I see what you're saying.
Jim.
I mean, you guys have enough telemetry, Jim, with the number of companies that you have. But you can obviously look at deployed versus undeployed, and is it trending one way versus the other? No?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing MSPs just, lose. It's one of the reasons why we changed our some of our policies to help MSPs, in this regard.
Hmm.
While we did away with high watermark pricing.
Right.
Um, because people were locked in on numbers on commitments that they couldn't keep. And again, no fault of their own. They just had customers that were churning out users.
Yeah. Leron, odd question to you on development. I mean, I gotta believe that's the one area AI is impacting, is it not? Like where, let's just say you needed to hire 10 devs. Is it not true that you can do a lot more now with some of the tools that you have and maybe not need 10?
It's a really good question. Now, when we hire developers, it seems like schools have started to shift the focus on just now beginning this focus on teaching how to work with AI, how AI works, how to leverage AI to produce the outcome product. But now, when we interview people, one of the first questions that we ask is, what tools do you use? And rather than just asking them code related questions, which certainly still occurs, there's a lot of questions about how do you leverage these AI tools to build the things that you're building? And then at what point do you step in as the human to evaluate the AI output to prevent it from doing stupid things? So that is definitely a factor. And that's what's beginning to change now.
Got it. Who you hire and their aptitude of those tools.
But it's just beginning. Like I'm talking a month ago, a lot less so, but now we're starting to see that sort of trend start to occur, which is why we've been pushing really hard on our own dev teams to really start using these tools, because in the future, if I have two candidates and one of them is leveraging these tools, I expect the candidate who is leveraging AI tools to go at least 2 to 3 times faster than the non-AI person.
Got
So
it.
those folks who don't have that skill set are no longer going to be feasible. And I'm talking average, right? Obscure code bases or highly specialized skill sets are kind of another thing, but just a general developer.
Got it. Enrique, you had a
Yes, so I was forgetting about this big win. So we're changing our sales strategy regarding how we prospect. Instead of trying to get this complementary vulnerability scan where they have to click on files. So now we have a service where we just put in a domain and they'll go through the whole dark web, chat channels, Telegram, and out of prospects from the past that have never wanted our services because we're competitors in the field, in their field with my other companies. Out of 5 scans I did on the domain, I picked up 3 of them with compromised computers. And these were found through Telegram chat channels and stuff. And breached like October 12th, September 15th. So I reach out to the owners because I know them. And their IT, he gets the IT owners on call, the IT guys on calls, and they're denying. And it's like, oh, it's just like a list. I'm like, guys, this is not a combo list. This is Info Stealer. I have the whole logs of your machine, of this machine. Turns out an IT guy was working from home. That home computer was compromised. And they had all his credentials, Sophos firewalls, Unify access points, controllers, when they kept on saying on the call denying, I said, look, I don't want to log into a system, but let me show you really quick. So I logged into a system, which I did not know what it was with the credentials. It was their accounting system. And I send them a screen capture and I'm like, okay, guys, now do you think it's serious? I put them together with a forensic analyst that they're waiting to get details to get on a quote and they're still dragging their feet. And I'm like, guys, we're like 40, 50 days into this. Your window of being encrypted is being small. But what I'm happy is it's definitely a new prospecting method that gives results. Because when you go to someone and you tell them, guys, you're compromised. This is an actual computer that's compromised as we speak. And there were 3 solid cases last week. So I think that's a big win.
very cool. Um, any others?
Andrew Sujit had a great win that he put in into
Chat.
the chat, and I'm not sure that everybody saw it. I was trying to coax him into
Oh
to
yeah,
coming
I could
live.
chat about it. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd
sorry,
be
I'm
great.
always trying to listen, but then my habit of wanting to do like 5 things at once and fail at everything just takes over. So
So
we have been spending a lot more time with templates. We've been building that out a lot and then kind of bringing a lot of our PowerShell scripts up to date. So now in combination with like one script, as well as what we can do with templates currently, we had a bunch of tenants we spun up over the last couple of weeks. And just those tenants out of the box in combination with SaaS alerts and that one script, it's pretty much able to get them 95% secure scores. And kind of all our base guidelines in one push. I was done in like 15 minutes between scripting and SaaS alerts deployment, and then just waiting for it to run overnight. And it had no impact on user viability. Everybody was able to join Teams meetings, share the files they needed to. It's just really flipping the switch on a lot of the stuff Microsoft just doesn't. And it was just kind of nice to see all that and then present those reports too, because SaaS alerts is kind of the one thing we have. I don't want to say we struggle, but sometimes we're not always sure how to kind of put that in front of people because it's just a shit ton of information. But the reports, now that I've spent more time with them, I'm able to present the right reports and show that ROI. And it's been really nice because that was something we struggle with. Like, how do we start standardizing a lot of our tenants? I think Ben mentioned on another call about snapshots and conditional access policies. So that's kind of my next venture, figuring out how to mess around with that and how we can bring that into the fray as well. So thank you, SaaS Alerts team. You have a great product.
Sounds like we need a guest appearance on
Thank you,
office
Sujit.
hours, Anthony.
Well, I don't want to be self-aggrandizing, but anybody who has any questions about the power of Unify, go to YouTube, look at last Tuesday or this Tuesday's office hours call. The last 30 minutes, Ben did a deep dive into all kinds of stuff that you could do, including, and I won't say any names because I don't know if you're on this call, we've had partners that turned on a bunch of policies that locked themselves out of their own admin controls in some of their tenants. Ben was showing us a way to use snapshots to go in and find out which policy broke that, pull that out, turn that off, push that policy back in, and get access restored to those admin credentials, which was bloody amazing to me. I stand in awe of my coworker, Ben. So seriously, send your engineers. If you didn't join us Tuesday, send your engineers out and have them spend 30 minutes with that call.
That's awesome, Anthony. And thank you, Sajid, for the recognition. And I would say that, Unify is probably one of the most underrated and underutilized pieces of the platform. I mean, every time I sit down with a customer and I ask them if they're using Unify, and so many aren't. And then they come back after they implement it and they're like, wow, thank you for pointing that out because it's a game changer.
Chip, maybe that's one of the things we should add to the session. And we were talking about tweaking it a little bit.
Yeah, I was literally thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So with that, unfortunately, you only had me for 30 minutes, so I got to jump to a 1:30.
I'm just wanted, Jim, before you leave, wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. And with all the great work Ben's doing, we're giving him a raise. If you could put that in your budget.
Okay, well, I already did.
All right. I just want to make sure.
I already
Bonus.
did. So
Well, he didn't specify he was getting a raise in money. It's
he's
extra leftover turkeys.
he's got enough to share with everybody. He can buy turkeys for everybody.
Yeah, he's already moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you guys hear about Ben?
Yeah, he
bought a mansion.
He's balling out. He's got this new
nice.
mansion.
He installs solar, leaves it. He doesn't even it's superfluous to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but Andrew, thank you very much. Thank you to all of you. I am supremely grateful to this community. And I love the participation and the engagement and everything that you guys have done to make us a better organization. So thank you. And if I don't talk to you, have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Good to see you,
Likewise.
You as
Jim.
well.
All right.
Take care. Take care. All right.
Jim left. I'm leaving. Bye, guys.
We can't leave. Amanda's up.
Oh.
Hi guys, I just have a quick announcement. This is very, very specific though. So we are currently working on our Event Hub integration, and we are looking for people who currently use Event Hub, understand the configuration of Event Hub, actually use it with their partners for some meaningful data collection. And if you'd be interested in having those events be collected in SaaS Alerts so that we can then connect and see that real data. That's kind of the group we're looking for. As you know, this feature won't be a general release. It is very, very specific to if you're using Event Hub and understand all the configuration and the pricing of Event Hub from Microsoft. So if anybody, don't have to answer now, you can always reach out to me. But if anybody thinks they have a use case for Event Hub, please reach out to me.
You got one already, Enrique.
Amanda, what's driving? Was there things in the background that are driving it that you're like, hey, this is something we should look at?
Yeah, so Event Hub is just another way for us to get real-time alerts. There's many, many, many thousands of different alerts you can set up in Event Hub and send them over to us. And so they're not dependent upon us then finding the API from Microsoft, finding that specific event, especially given the configuration that you can do. So it adds that flexibility. So if someone's already using it but would like to collect that data inside of SaaS Alerts, then to combine with other events, to make your IOCs better, to make anything else clearer, that's the group we're looking for.
Got it.
Like
Cool.
we use Andrew Event Hub to move all our Azure indicators and logs to CrowdStrike.
Interesting. Okay. Very cool. Well, in that vein of Microsoft, Enrique, I'm going to show one thing and it'll go backwards. Did you guys see this big news?
Yep, just read about it this morning.
Um, this is pretty, I think, pretty significant. What do you think, Chip? This is something that used to have to always be set up. Is important, collection point, so this is something John Strand and Bo absolutely love and have talked about for years as security practitioners, and now this is coming to a theater near you. What are your thoughts on Microsoft making? Seems like they're trying to make things a lot easier for MSPs, certainly.
Look, I think it's great. And, we will certainly be looking at how we can utilize Sysmon to pull in even more event data that we can use for correlations. I know Mark is on this call. He doesn't like to come on camera for some reason, but I'm sure he's going to be all over this with his team as well. Microsoft has made promises that they're going to include more and more and more. And from a security standpoint in their stock licensed products. And I think this is a great step in that direction. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Just real quick, Chip, we were talking, maybe we could just ask the group on, Unify. Are there other things you feel that the group should be thinking about that we could add into this? We're about a third of the way full now, so we're starting to tick up, which is not a nice thing to see, on the certification. So we're getting more registrants. But have you given this any more thought on things, and you want to pose anything to the group?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose what we're trying to accomplish here is take people, and maybe this isn't the best group because you guys are pretty hands-on as a group of SaaS Alerts user. But I guess if you've got a notion of what you think are the most important things for us to teach at this Writer Boom seminar, Ben and I have talked about it. We obviously look at IOC creation and advanced threat hunting. I'm wondering if Fortify should be one of the main themes that we bring in here because it can be so complicated, as Sujit said. But once you get it figured out, it's extreme.
Did we lose? There we go.
Oh, just lost your audio, Chip.
Lost my audio.
Just
There you
that last 10 seconds.
I called out that what we might want to be really focusing on or adding a focus on is Fortify. It's a complicated process to go about creating your templates and snapshots. And, Ben went through this last week on office hours. So you just brought it up. Andrew, that I think it's one of the best things that we've ever built in SaaS Alerts. And it's actually caused a noticeable reduction in the amount of compromises because people's tenants are configured the way they should be. So I think we should add a track of that into our description of what we're going to be doing here.
Okay. Yeah. Ben, do you think you could maybe update that and let's send it over to me?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to cover everything.
All right. And how about you guys out there? Anything you guys would like help with that you're like, when you look at the platform?
Crickets. This is the well-informed crew, Andrew.
Yeah, I know. Well, Sujit.
Well, the only thing I would add is I know last time I happened to go through templates, the community templates at least. I know there's a handful built by like Ben and a few other folks from SaaS Alerts, but I feel like with a lot of what you do with PowerShell, especially turning on a lot of the default security stuff, if more of that can maybe be incorporated into templates and that can kind of be built out. So there's more that you can just leverage from there. And I'd like to see a little bit more on that side. And then I think Unify is my only other thing. Unify is still, at least for me, it's always been really buggy. I've always had to manually map everything. Like it really doesn't pick up anything automatically. And it tends to trigger false alerts because it can't always figure out the device. And I don't know if that's the fact that it's relying on Microsoft data versus, an RMM, it clearly lines up that that's the user on said device. But that's really the only two things I can think of.
Are you registering devices with Entra or
Yep.
Intune?
Yeah.
Adam, are you on today?
He told
He's
me he'd
gonna
be
be
late. I'll be here eventually.
Okay. We're going to try to throw that one over to Adam and have him and give you a little mini interview in that Sajid right on the spot. But yeah, I would set up a call with Adam directly and really talk through what you're seeing in Unify. If there's ideas that you guys have for us to improve it, absolutely, we're all about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Happy to chat with them. If there's an email form, if you want to throw in the chat, I'll shoot them just a quick hello.
Yeah, I'm sure Maya will drop that in there.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Chip, can we talk about your fish of the week? The one you sent over to me. I thought that was an interesting one and well-crafted subdomain and
Yeah, this one was wild. So this came to me. There were a couple of things that set this off for me. Number one, I mean, you probably can't see it just looking at the screen, everybody watching it, but this is a Wells Fargo looking email. And it came to an email address that I have that's not associated with my Wells Fargo account. So that's like the very, very first thing that I was like, huh, what is going on here? So it's very well written and looks good. I did not send this to Ben, by the way, yet, Andrew. So we can't put him on the spot on it. But what it asks you to do is go watch a video about your escrow account. Now, your home mortgage escrow account. Now that seems pretty suspicious right out of the gate, right? Um, so I'm thinking, all right, well, let me put this thing in this URL in a sandbox browser and see what it does. And where I would be expecting that it would ask for authorization, instead of asking for authorization, it drops me right into a video that explains inaccurate information about my escrow account. So it's clearly an info stealer aimed at trying to get at banking data. But it was extremely well crafted. We've heard of these before going on with the big banks. Just another thing to educate your customers on, that it's not just Microsoft that people are going after and trying to get your credentials and log into stuff. And it kind of flows into probably the next one you're going to toss up here, Andrew.
which one's that?
Brazil, or are we not
Uh,
covering that?
the Brazil, the WhatsApp one. Let me get that. Hold on. I got it right
Yeah,
here.
that was crazy. I don't know
Yeah.
if anyone's seen this, but
Yeah, I got it right here. Because right here. Hold on. Here we go. Go ahead, Chip.
yeah. So this one popped into my news feed last night, and I sent it over to Andrew. Um, and it's a social media app. It's focusing on WhatsApp. It embeds a worm on your device if you're using WhatsApp in your browser, and that is specifically targeted again at going after financial data. But what I found most interesting about this is that the whole thing has been designed from the ground up to specifically target Brazil, users
Yeah.
of WhatsApp in Brazil. And apparently, I didn't know this before reading this article. The population in Brazil uses WhatsApp for everything. It's the most popular social media app there, and it moves about and projects itself from one device to the next through fake WhatsApp postings that people pick up on. Um, Glad I don't use WhatsApp, by the way. Um, but it was so targeted that its command and control server, when it picked up information and IP addresses that were not in Brazil, it shut itself down, which is remarkable to me. Like, whoever's behind this is only going after Brazilian financial institutions, but some international stuff too, like Stripe and other things. And literally, shuts itself down and backs out, and doesn't continue to pursue the attack if the user is not located in Brazil, which I found interesting, puzzling, worrisome, that someone would put that much energy into that kind of geolocation targeted malware with a single specific app. Again, it's a cautionary tale about how fast AI is helping people devise new, very, very specific threats to go after, down to individual populations. So I don't know
Yeah,
if you read through this one or not, Andrew, but
yeah,
I found it really interesting.
it was, and the language that it was only in Portuguese.
Only Brazilian Portuguese
Yeah,
dialect, not
yeah,
just Portuguese.
yeah. It was,
Fascinating.
yeah. So, and I wonder if it's for telemetry reasons, Chip, why they don't let it go out and anywhere else, right?
Yeah, that's the only explanation that I could come up with. They're trying to stay under the radar. Another explanation is, Brazil's a test platform.
Yep.
Um, you know, WhatsApp might be the biggest thing ever in Brazil. I don't know if it is necessarily in, Venezuela or South Africa. Or, you could take the same logic and apply it to any commonly used consumer application that's really popular anywhere, right? It doesn't really need WhatsApp to be necessarily the the material through which it spreads.
Or, to your riffing on your point, maybe it's the launch point for a kit, right? This kit specific to a region, right?
Yeah.
This language, you can buy it for this much. Um, so, how about this one? Um, did you see this one, Leron?
Yes, I did see it, and it reminds me of the hack that we saw a while back where some hacker basically, the same way that you can kind of spin up a business with agents that do everything for you, spin up a bunch of agents that hack for you, except at the state level.
Yeah, and this what was wild is that, like, Claude did all the work. Like, there was like virtually nothing human about it, Leron.
Aside from the orchestration, but eventually that's going to be agentic too, right?
Yeah, that was fairly wild. What else did I have here? Bear with me. So,
Andrew, one more thing on that, on the Chinese state actor with Claude. What I also found interesting about that is that Anthropic themselves were actually the first to see it.
yes, and they wrote about it, right? Oh, here, this was the one I wanted to talk about, Chip. Cloudflare. Anybody in?
Oh, that.
No, yeah, nobody dealt with that yesterday, did they?
We
Got
did.
our ass kicked.
Yeah, did it, Enrique?
Oh yeah, most of our SaaS apps were down.
What was fascinating is when you read the article, there's a few things Chip and I'll talk about, but when you read the article, I immediately started to read. I'm like, oh, they must have thought it was a DDoS, Chip. And that sure is, you start reading, and they're like, and we thought it was a DDoS. And um, uh, I'll point out one thing. I'd love your take on it, Chip. But the thing I love about them, as you and I have talked about over the years, they are the standard in incident response to me. Like, in terms of, if you want to learn how to communicate to your clients when their shit hits the fan, go to their site and read their IR stuff. Um, every time they take ownership, they tell you what happened, what was affected, what wasn't affected, what they plan to do to fix it so it doesn't happen in the future. Um, I don't know what better standard you can get. What are your thoughts, Chip?
I agree. I mean, they don't pull any punches. You call it exactly, as it happened. They don't try and obfuscate their own responsibility. In this case, they clearly were. Number one, they were looking in the wrong direction for the cause, thinking DDoS, and they spent hours trying to run that down.
Yeah.
Number two, once they discovered that, they just absolutely owned it. And the subtext of blog post where they laid this out. Basic was, hey, we screwed up. Like one of our guys just really screwed up, and we didn't pay attention, and now we learned something new that we have to keep track of, and we'll do better. And there you go. I do want to make a comment about this in the specific context of SaaS alerts. Obviously, we dealt with this too. Cloudflare um, is our WAF and content delivery network, and it did take down the front end of SaaS alerts, manage.saasalerts.com. But what I love about what we've built, and I'm proud to say it was by design. Um, our product in the back end kept doing exactly what it's supposed to do. All the data still flowed. Everybody got alerts into their PSAs or through webhooks or however they get them. You couldn't log into the platform and go and add a new organization or go do analysis, that kind of thing. We were down like everybody else for 4 or 5 hours, but we didn't miss a single stitch of data from the products that we monitor on your behalf. And I love the fact that we've built it that way. And we talked a lot on our risk committee meeting today. Ironically, our internal risk committee meeting weekly is the same day as our SaaS alerts SASE call, and we talked quite a bit about this, about what we want to do and what we can and should do, with backup DNS systems to make sure that that doesn't happen. And one of the reactions I had to Leron, as he and I were working through this the other day, was, I think this is going to be short term. Let's not try and reroute everything because the product is actually working in the background doing its thing. So hopefully none of you were specifically impacted by this. I don't, Anthony, did we get any calls from anybody saying what's going on, can't log in?
Uh, there were some of the sales guys were a little cranky because they couldn't do their demos. But yeah, we did have a few folks trying to log into the platform, and for that 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever it turned out to be, there were some people that had some challenges. But
Yep.
as you say, hey, below underneath the hood, everything's still running, and that gave them some comfort.
Yeah. We did come away with one, in the interest of transparency and following Cloudflare's practices. We did come away with one learning of our own, and that is that our own status page is also waffed by Cloudflare. So I think we are going to change that, or at least make some kind of an adjustment so that I don't know how many of you folks ever go to the Sassler status page. There is one that lets you know if we are having an issue. But we're going to change that up and make sure that that's available, even if Cloudflare does have a problem.
Excellent.
So we learned something too, Andrew.
That's what it's all about, right, Chip?
Yep.
Let's see, anything.
While you're searching, when anybody goes to log in to manage.saasalerts.com, look up to the top right. You'll see that status page that Chip was talking about.
I have a
Links right
question.
there on the landing page.
Chip, would it make sense to add like a Cloudflare to the Kaseya status page so that you could say, hey, look, our login is working fine, but we have a critical partner that's out currently?
That's one of the things we're thinking of doing. But we know not all of our customers, use other Kaseya products, so that's only going to pick up part of the population. Like, we can put something in Kaseya One where people log in to look at sort of everything, their whole estate, as we call it. But we've got to do a little more than that as well. But it is a good idea, Andy.
Okay.
Chip, I think it's all I got for today. I had a few others, but in interest of time, I don't think it's worth going into.
So we got 7 minutes of open floor if anybody wants to get into anything.
All right, what's your
What are you
favorite
guys doing for
leftover for Thanksgiving?
Well, I'll start. I'll answer that one. We're following our regular family tradition of going to a Grateful Dead show on Thanksgiving Eve, taking the kids, going out and having a good time, and coming back and doing Thursday. My wife does not do the Dead, so she stays home and enjoys a quiet house, and usually bakes a pie or two as a present for all of us for getting out of her hair for a few hours. So that's how we kick off Thanksgiving every year. We'll be doing it again next week.
Where is it? The concert?
It's actually a Dead cover band called DSO, Dark Star Orchestra. But they, for 15 years, they do a Thanksgiving Eve show at a venue that's about a half an hour from here up in the Poconos. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
Our
Anthony
plans
asked
aren't
Who's
about
anything
next?
favorite.
fancy. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Enrique.
No, Anthony asked favorite leftovers. Turkey.
You guys are weird. Your Thanksgiving and your Christmas is way too close together. That's just like back-to-back gluttony. Canadians have it right.
Oh my
Tina,
God.
here we just give up on our weight control between October 31st and whenever the Super Bowl is. I just give up to those months and then worry about eating sensibly after that.
Fair.
I've never understood Thanksgiving, even as like an Indian child when I first came off the plane to America, and I was like, wow, okay. I'll stick to just Christmas, please. So
It's our original holiday. It's like the original national holiday that we had. It was bigger than Christmas for a long, long time.
yeah, well now Christmas starts at like November 1st.
Yeah, well,
I wish Adam was on here because I have sad news to report for us. Our ski hill is not opening tomorrow. We don't have enough snow. So delayed ski season for us.
Well, we have about an inch in Breckenridge, I think.
Enrique, where do you ski? You're a skier, right?
Breckenridge, I leave today at 4 o'clock as soon as my kid gets out of school. We'll drive to Colorado and stay there till Wednesday, then fly back and go to Mexico for Thanksgiving.
Nice.
you guys need to come east. Vermont,
Well,
Maine, New
whenever you
Hampshire.
invite us,
We've had lots of
oh,
snow. Everything's open.
I've been
we
to
just need an invite.
Stowe many, many years ago. Stowe? Was it called Stowe?
Yeah, Stowe. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
there's a
I went to
stow
Stowe.
and a snow.
Stowe.
One's upstate,
Stowe.
one's south. Both of them.
Vermont?
Yeah.
North, yeah, right after 9/11, I was in New York. I was supposed to stay in Syracuse, New York, but I got kicked out and back in Canada. So I could have been really close to you guys if life had been a little different. But yeah, went to Stowe that winter, went down to ground zero that winter. It was a impactful experience for sure.
Nice.
And anybody makes it out to the Colorado area ever?
I haven't.
It's been years.
I do love how everybody's just staying to hang out because I like hanging out with you guys too. So it's great.
I think she's trying
It's
to
fun
take
to
us
know.
out.
You guys are like my faves.
Hang on, let me check my contract. Yeah, I get paid the same either way, Tina. So, you know.
All right, you get paid to do this. I just come because I love you guys. Right. I always forget that. Doesn't matter.
Have a great turkey,
As a quick
everyone.
reminder, Andrew sort of led with that at the top of the call. We're not doing this next week because we Americans have a Thanksgiving thing. So you all are welcome to meet at whatever bar and or chat room you like. But those of us working for the Big K are not going to be around.
You could host your own sassy call and take it to
Would
a whole different
anybody
sassy
come?
level.
I bet everybody would still come. They'd ditch their Thanksgiving.
I'll show up. It's like watching the Cowboys lose.
All right, we'll have our own party. Eric,
You can invite your
you want
20,000 neighbors in
Budgie?
what is it?
Jerry?
Port St. what?
Fort St. John.
Fort St. John. There you go.
Fort St. John in the west, not St. John's in the east. Yeah. Ben just brought up our Sasapalooza that we're going to have up here in Fort St. John. So you guys will all get a special invite. It'll kind of be like Connect, but better. Yeah. Sasapalooza.
All right. Pick a date.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yep.
Three
Take it
boots
easy,
for sure.
everyone.
Guys,
Happy
Have a good day,
Thanksgiving.
guys.
Be
Always
safe.
good to see you.
Safe travels, Enrique.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Appreciate it, guys.